Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my kitchen, and no worries, today's video is not a cooking video, even though the weather would definitely allow for a nice cooking video today because we had snow again. And it's not one of this like really nice fresh, lofty snow. No, it is really wet and damp outside. So it really is not a good day to do anything outside. And I think it's going to stay probably for a day or two, and then it's supposed to melt off again. And I hope that spring is slightly on its way, actually, because I was outside the other day just inspecting and checking. And some of the first snowdrops are poking through, and some of the iris as well. So excited. So if you follow my previous videos about the autumn planting, I really planted drifts of blue iris, like the spring iris, and I can't wait to see it. And I also started cutting back a little bit here and there, but I'm going to make a separate video on how I get in there and start cutting back and everything. One thing that really surprised me is last year was the first year that I was growing snapdragons, and I grow them from seed as well, like a tall white variety, and they seem to have overwintered, which is really surprising for me because normally snapdragons are an annual, but they look happy as Larry, so I'm really happy. And as I already said, snapdragons, I saw them last year, so today's video is about sowing. This is a perfect time of the year to really get cracking and do it. I've got a lot of seeds sitting here and waiting. And I also started sowing, like in one of my previous videos, I suppose like a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, I'm not sure, where I started sowing some of the perennials and the artichokes. And the reason, well, artichokes are also perennial normally in other climate zones. But the reason for it is that annuals, they don't really grow a big root system. They're more planning on producing a lot of flowers, so to produce a lot of seed, while perennials, they always come back again. So they really put a lot of energy into developing a good root system. So I want to show you how they are looking after 4 weeks. Germination was really good. I'm really happy with that. But as usual, I've done it before with perennials. They germinate, and then for a good 3-4 weeks, it kind of feels like nothing happens, and that is normal. So if you do it as well, don't worry, that is absolutely normal, because in that time, the plant really focuses on producing a lot of fibrous small roots, and then it continues with growing its first true leaves. But I want to show you that in a moment from now. One quick word, this year I kind of changed my game a little bit when it comes to the planting and sowing process. So this year I bought only one kind of container, how do you call it, like mini greenhouse, like a mini greenhouse. And the reason for it is last year, last year was the first year where I really focused on sowing. Like I've always done a little bit, but last year was the first year we really started with like different annuals and trying things out. And this year I really want to focus even more on this entire process. I figured that last year I had like I think 7 or 8 different kind of miniature greenhouses, and the problem is when you store them, they really take up a lot of space, and I thought that was not the smartest move of buying all different kind of mini greenhouses. So this year I bought 10 of these, all the same, and the beauty is that when I just take the cloche off, like the top part, I can just stack them in another, and the same with a base basically, so that I only have like a pile of like the green base and a pile of the transparent cloche that goes on top of it here, and then that makes storing so much easier. That is like, there was really one hint of advice. If you're buying these first time ever, make a decision on what works best for you. This, I think, is a perfect size because it's kind of like long and narrow, so it fits perfectly on each and every windowsill. I don't grow with growing lights or anything, having that said. I really do it quite the old-fashioned way. I sow it in here, put it in the windowsill, and then I just forget about it pretty much. I'll just check occasionally if it's moist, and that is all I'm gonna do. But what I want to do now first is I want to flip the phone and just talk you through of all the seeds that I have that I intend on growing. Quite a lot of exciting things, a lot of things that I never grew before, especially vegetables, because as I said in one of my previous videos, I'm just working on building an entire new vegetable area in the garden, where I'm really excited about. And in order to that allows me the opportunity to really just like get in there and grow a lot of vegetables that I've never grown before. I'm also going to build some raised beds and do all different kind of things. So a lot of hopefully exciting projects to come in the future. But yeah, first I just want to talk you through all of the seeds and then do a little bit of sowing with you just to show you how it works and how I do it. I think first it's nice to just quickly show you how all of the seedlings are looking, like all the things that I was sowing with you like 4 weeks ago. And isn't that exciting already? This is always the moment that really excites me a lot. So first thing here are the autumn anemones. They are quite small still, but really good germination going on, and it took a really long time for them to germinate. I think like they started probably 2 weeks ago, but they're really coming to life. Then the asters that I collected, I think I have like maybe 5 or 6, yeah, 5 or 6 of them. And they start already with their first true leaves in here, which is really nice. Next station are Aquilegia, also gathered from my own garden. No true leaves at all, which is not a bad thing. They're really nice in developing their own root system now. And then the Delphs. The Delphiniums, they had an amazing germination rate. Still more and more popping up here and there and everywhere. So I'm kind of keen on seeing the first true leaves very soon. Then if I just move on to the next tray here, there is another row of autumn anemones. And again, they are looking really nice, very tiny still, but that is normal. Then I've got 2 different varieties of artichokes. The first one is a variety called Imperial Star, and the germination rate was so good, you guys. Like each and every single one of them came up very happy. They start forming their first true leaves. I hope you can see it a little bit, which is brilliant. They flop over, which is normal. The same thing happened to me last year. So I suppose this is just what artichokes are doing. But in a week or so, I think I'm going to pot them on into bigger pots so that they have more space and they can develop an even better root system. And then put them really light somewhere because artichokes really, really like to grow in full sun. Next variety is called Adamaro. That is like a purple-ish variety. The germination rate was not so great. I think 50% came up, but I still had a lot of seed left. So what I did is, you can tell, some fresh seedlings poking through. So I just put some more seeds in here, so at least I have a good amount of them. So yeah, this is how things are looking so far. Very happy with them. And what I'm going to do now is, oh look, there's my mug, my coffee mug. I do pottery, by the way. I'm not sure if I showed you before or mentioned it before. So this is one of the coffee mugs that I made myself. And kind of like my signature shape as well, a little more flat and then with a big handle. And I really like to take inspiration from the Baltic area in terms of color, like really take inspiration from tones of the beach, sand, dunes, the garden, all kind of like more natural color. I would not do any like really bright fleshy things necessarily. But this is what today's video is about, all those seeds waiting here already. So what I'm going to do now is just talk you through each and every single one of what I'm going to plant. So excited. I decided to show you the seed packs a little different because I watch a lot of YouTube videos myself, and I don't really like when people just like flip their phone sometimes and just like talk endlessly and just show you something and you don't get to see the person. So I think maybe this is going to be a little nicer. Just tell me what you think about it. I have a lot of seeds and I try to talk you through fast and not show you maybe each and every one of them, maybe try and cluster it a little bit, but really focus on those things that excite me, because some of the things that I will show you are meant to be for the back of a garden, especially for the slope, because I treat the slope as an extension of the garden, and at the end, at the back, more of a testing ground for new color combination, plant combination, trying things out there and see if I really want to introduce it like this into my garden. So this is just a beautiful thing. And then the other side that I'm still working on. So just in case if you haven't followed me in my previous videos, the slope is really at the end of the garden. One side is already developed into terraces basically, and the second side I am still developing, and this will be only dedicated to vegetable growing, which excites me a lot. And this is also going to be quite a challenge, not a challenge, but like something really exciting for me in general, because I have my go-to varieties of vegetables that I was growing in the past, but space was limited, and this year I feel like I can really knock myself out with a lot of different and exciting things. I want to build raised beds and so many more things to come, so I hope that you're excited about it as well. But let me talk you through the seeds first. So the first 2 things I want to show you are cosmos. I love cosmos because I think they're just like these like happy, cheerful, dainty little plants. They're really a lovely addition in terms of texture because the foliage and the structure is so lofty and light. For the new testing ground, I want to focus on a color combination of peach, apricot, and blue shades, and I found Cosmos Apricot Lemonade. This is an absolute wonderful variety. It has like this peachy color on the outside and pink on the inside. Very beautiful, perfect time to sow it now indoors. It needs a temperature of like 20 degrees for germination. Last year I was really late with my Cosmos, and I could tell that I think I did it in April, and they started flowering. They were beautiful. I grew a variety called Double Click, so a pink double, very nice, but it really took a long time for them to develop a nice, good size, basically, which is not such a hassle because first frost generally hits quite late in the season here. So it was still all right, but this year I really want to change up the game a little bit. Second variety is called Rubenza. So this is supposed to be a true red variety. Very, very exciting. Because most of the cosmos that are labeled as red, they still come true as kind of a tone of magenta, and I'm really hoping this will be a nice red tone. Then I have Agastache, so this is a lovely perennial actually. It needs full sun, and especially here I am gardening in a zone 7B, and I grew Agastache in the past and in different areas, and it really needs to sit somewhere really hot, protected and sheltered, and then it is a perennial. If that is not the case, I can tell you here it won't survive. Maybe it was a cold, maybe it was a combination of all the snow and the wet and the moist condition that we have together with the cold temperatures, who knows. But generally, Agastache is wonderful for wildlife. It has these like long blue spikes. I hope you get to see it a little bit at least in here. Always filled with all kind of bees and insects. Wonderful. This is why I love it. Next one, difficult to pronounce. Onothera, let's just go with Onothera. I think you might know it in yellow. It's one of those that opens its flowers in the evening hours. Beautiful scent, normally yellow. I have a peachy orange one. It's called just orange basically. Onothera versicolor. Yeah, let's see, 50 seeds, not too many. But this variety is supposed to open the flowers already in the afternoon. So I think this is going to be quite intriguing. And the first time ever, just make it quick. Summer aster, or I think you can also call it Chinese aster, really big blooms. This is called Salmon Janina. I hope this is going to be not like just pink. I hope this is going to be somewhat in the world of peachy, but let's see. Then more peach to come. I've got very trending right now. I think you see it in a lot of different gardens. Zinnia Cinderella Peach. Absolutely beautiful coloring, I think. Like almost like an ombre effect going on from yellow over peach into pinkish tones. Really like frilly and frou-frou looking. Got 2 packs, very excited about these. Then sunflowers. I really love all of these like lovely sunflowers that come in like these pinkish tones and everything. But okay, this is a good point maybe to say something. For everybody who orders seeds in the European Union, you probably feel, I think you really feel me when I say how difficult it was to order seeds this year. Because after Brexit, hardly any of the seed shops from the UK ships to the European Union at the moment. And who knows if they ever will again. Honestly, it's... I texted one of them and they said they don't even know if they ever will do it again. So I was like baffled and I thought, okay, I need to change my game pretty much now and find different online shops. So the first 2 that I'm going to show you are from smaller shops, but then I've got a big box here actually with a lot of seeds. And so this is a German online shop, but they don't have their own seeds, but they kind of sell from all different kind of brands. And also from Thompson & Morgan, which is good for me because I love Thompson & Morgan seeds. I was very happy about that. I think I'm gonna link the shop down at the end of the video. They ship even worldwide. I'm not sure if the homepage is available in English as well. I hope it is. So whoever struggled with finding good, nice seeds, maybe this will be an alternative for you. Just check it out, just see, maybe you find something lovely. I'm just going to show you what I shopped there anyways. So, when it comes to sunflowers, this is where I started actually. I really like sunflowers that come in these colors of like peach and blush and rose and a little pinkish, and all of them were sold out in Europe. I could not find a single online shop where they were still available, but I found 2 different varieties that I thought were very exciting. One is called Astra Rose. It is in this peachy world really a double. Hardly any brown visible, which I like, to be honest. And it's supposed to grow quite bushy, which I like as well. So multi-stem, I'm really excited about this one. And the next one, how intriguing. Sun-filled Purple F1, who comes up with such a name. But again, a double, kind of like green flowers with purple tips. Really exciting. I think for cut flower arrangement, they will make up just beautiful in a cut flower arrangement. Then something that really excites me as a filler plant, I got 2 filler plants, Hibiscus Mahogany Splendor. So this produces only lovely dark red foliage, almost looking like an acer. But the beauty of it is, it looks like a shrub, but it's not. So if you like it, you can do it in the exact same area next year again, or you just do it in a different area of your garden. So I think this is a nice thing about growing sometimes annuals, because they give you the opportunity to change things up a little bit. Because if I would have planted just for a nice red foliage and acer, that plant will be in that position forever, which is sometimes nice, but sometimes in a border, I just like to mix it a little bit. So this is what I think, this is just a very exciting specimen. And then another one, this is a red Panacetum red jewels. Again, another lovely filler plant here. In my climate zone, in a zone 7B, this is definitely not a perennial. It definitely doesn't like the cold temperatures. And even after the first frosty day, they're all dead as a doornail. So they never ever came back for me at all. So now to my lovely big box of seeds here. So first ones I'm going to show you are from Thompson & Morgan. That is a UK brand and I love them because I was growing them in the past and the germination rate is incredible. They're very good, very reliable, they grow really well, absolutely wonderful plants. The first one I'm going to show you is the favorite one that I grow from them. This is a Rudbeckia called Cherry Brandy. Maybe you've seen it before. It's the first true red Rudbeckia there is. And I heard from other people that they were growing this variety from different suppliers as well, and a lot of their seedlings came through in different colors, in yellow and bronze and whatever. And I grew 2 packs last year, and just one plant was yellow. All the other ones looked exactly like this. And I was so happy with that. And I think this is also why it really speaks quality on these. In theory, they are a perennial, but here in my climate zone, it's a little iffy. So just to be sure, I bought 3 more packs because I really don't want to miss it. It's absolutely beautiful. Then I've got Snapdragons. So this is mini cherry cola. Lovely red tone, absolutely glorious. I'm not sure why they call it mini. Maybe the flowers will be small because it grows up to 60 centimeters. Yeah, 60 centimeters. So quite a good size actually for a snapdragon. Very excited about these. And then amaranth. Very beautiful. I love amaranth in all different colors. I'm also going to grow one variety where you have the tassels, the hanging tassels, and the tassels are red and the foliage is red. This is one that is more like upright and it is in these tones of like copper, peach, apricot. I think really beautiful. And I think it's just like a lovely texture that you can add to your border, because on one side I plant a lot of grasses where I always think they bring just this lofty, just a nice atmosphere to any kind of planting. But then you have like Rudbeckia with these like big daisy boom smack kind of flowers. But then on the contrary, you have these that are just really stunning in terms of texture and color. So I think this is something that you might want to consider as well when you plan your garden, or that you really plan different kind of textures. I've got more amaranth, some are sitting in here. So this is varieties. Is that really the variety name? I guess it is. So this is a chartreuse color one. So this will go into the front garden. I love for the front garden to play with colors of chartreuse, sulfur yellow, lime green, and then mix it with shades of blue and a little bit of white. So this is definitely bound to go into the front garden. And then something else that I was growing in the front garden last year, Zinnia Green Envy. They were beautiful. So if you never grew zinnias before, I could really recommend these. This is a gorgeous variety. They were perfect for cut flower arrangements, because if you have a cut flower arrangements with like dahlias and all big bold colors, this kind of just like sits in there. It is a nice filler in there, let's face it, but it just really has this lovely texture and color. Definitely one to have. Then for my peach border, I've got some foxgloves. So this is Dalmatian peach. Then I've got poppies, and it's good to talk about poppies maybe, because poppies are a variety of plant that needs a good cold spell in order to germinate. So this is how it works in nature with them. They develop their seeds. The seeds kind of just like sprinkle wherever on the meadow. Then they go through winter and then they germinate. So this is a variety called Black Peony. Quite tall growing, if I'm not wrong, I think. Does it say at the back of the pack? Up to 1 meter in height. Lovely, dark, dark red doubles. Very excited about them. So I think they will, maybe I even put them in a tray, because poppy seeds are really, really small and they're going to be a lot in here. Or no, I'm going to do station sowing, because poppies generally don't like to be replanted that much. So I think it's better to do station sowing, put the entire tray outside, forget about it, and then at one point I'm checking it, and hopefully I'm going to have lovely poppies. Then I've got the last thing that's more like ornamental. I've got Ricinus. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It comes actually from the northeast of Africa and the Near East, where it grows into a tree shape, but here obviously it doesn't because of the climate zone. But it got this really lovely dark red, big foliage, really tropical, Lovely addition to a border. Really excited to grow them on the back of a garden. So let's see how they are going to perform. Next in the box, a lot of vegetables. So what I'm going to do, really just quickly talk you through what I've got going on here. So I got Rocket. This is a variety called Dragon's Tongue, and it got like really lovely purple streaks of veins going in here. Then I've just like normal Romana salad, really love it, good always for nice salad making. And then just like these like picking salads. I've got like Lolo Bianco, a classic, Lolo Rosso, another classic. And then I got one where the name kind of like really irritated me. It's called American Brown. Is that a typical American salad? Can somebody please tell me? I had no idea that this is actually the name for it. How funny is it? I love it though. It's a really lovely salad, but the name, I was kind of like, is that really so American? Then I've got cilantro, just for the herbs. I love it. I know it's like, a lot of people don't like it because it has this distinct soapy taste, but I really enjoy it. Two different kind of onions. I've got the normal big cooking onion. It's called Alyssa Craig. High hopes for this one. And then I've got like from this Italian brand, this is called, oh my, Cipolla Rosso di Toscana. I hope I said it right. My Italian game is not on, but like a red onion. And I'm from the north of Germany, and we like to cook with onions, and then we also like to make dishes with raw onions, or like pickled onions in vinegar. So this is why I'm very keen on growing nice onions. I've got two varieties of beans. My always go-to favorite variety of beans, a very traditional German one, Blauhilde. Lovely, long, dark purple pods. They flower also in a really nice color, almost like a purple magenta tone. Love it. They freeze really well. I still get some in the freezer. When you boil them, they lose the color. Then they change color from the purple into green, but I don't mind. They're still lovely. And then next thing is a first. I was so excited to look at them. Borlotto. Aren't they fun? With this kind of graffiti pattern on that pink and like greenish tone. I was really intrigued to see them. I'm not going to sow them, obviously. They will all go directly into the ground, so nothing happens with them today. Then the next side, I was really successful with my bell peppers last year. Didn't grow them from seeds, I just bought plants, but this year I'm going to change it. And I bought varieties that produce smaller fruit just because of the climate zone and to make sure that fruit are really going to ripen. So the first one, super exciting. Never seen a variety like this even in the supermarket. It's called Sweet Chocolate. So it is kind of like this dark variety here, almost brownish. Let's see how that grows. The next one is Cucino Orange. Small orange bell peppers, lovely looking. And then this one doesn't have a name. It's just sweet pepper, but in red. Let's see how they grow. This is an American variety, I think. Buzzy seeds, done my research. Then I've got chilies, never grown chilies before. So the first one I just went with Peperone Fuego, so a classic red one. And they dry off beautifully. Like this is the nice thing about chilies. You don't need to like eat them all at once. You don't need to freeze them. You can just dry them. This is absolutely perfect. Dry them, chop them, and put them even in a grinder if you wanted to. And then the next one, how exciting, cayenne purple. Have you ever seen purple chilies? Probably have. I never have. I'm super excited about them. They are bound to be extreme spicy though, so this is the one thing that scares me a little bit. I like spicy food, having that said. In my job as a fashion designer, I used to travel a lot of times to Sri Lanka. I'm not difficult with spicy food in general, but when it has extreme spicy, I'm kind of like, let's see. Maybe I just grow it for the fun of the color, let's see. Then I've got pumpkins. Not going to sow any of these today though. Where do they start? Here. No, God. First one, quite a classic. I love it. Hokkaido, because you can just use entire pumpkin with a rind and everything. So this is why I really love to grow it. Then here is unfortunately no photo on it. This is called Baby Boo, but it is supposed to be a blue pumpkin, one of these Cinderella pumpkins, kind of like Muscat de Provence. This one has a photo. These are kind of like these Cinderella coach pumpkins. I just love them for the shape. They grow quite big. I might use some of them for decorating maybe as well. And then I got Blue Doll as well, which is another blue one. Oh no, Baby Boo was a white one. Baby Boo is a tiny white one, a Blue Doll. That is the blue one. Got it mixed up. Then, next one, fennel. Fennel is nice because fennel flower is nice. So I might even introduce it maybe into some of the borders or something. I love fennel. Absolutely love the flavor of it. I love weird vegetables, I think. I love Brussels sprouts. I love fennel. I love cilantro. I love a lot of things where other people might go like, ooh. The next one as well, I love celery. Not sure about you. I also think it looks beautiful. I make pesto out of celery. It's so delicious with roasted pine nuts. Yeah, super lovely. Then leek, also one of my favorite vegetables. Never grown it before, need to do some research on how to do it properly. Sweet corn, just one variety of corn. I'm going to talk you through when I plant these, why just one variety of corn, because there's a trick to the whip. Then one variety of cucumbers as well. Let's see how they grow. And then tomatoes. I have a love and hate relationship with tomatoes, to be honest. I know everybody loves tomatoes, but they have a weird texture for me. It's like these cherry tomatoes. They shouldn't have too much liquid inside, because I really think it's weird when you bite in it. It's firm on the outside, and then everything just squirts into your mouth. I'm kind of like, ooh, that is such a weird sensation for me. Can't describe it. It's not so much the taste sometimes. Warm tomatoes, though, are the taste. They're like a tomato sauce or soup. Ooh, I'm over it. I couldn't. But these are like, oh my, how do you call that in English? Maybe ox heart tomatoes, Borsalina. This is tomato I like because it has hardly any liquid inside. It grows big, it's delicious, it's perfect for a salad, it's perfect for anything. So I was like, if I'm going to grow one tomato, it's going to be this one, because this is the one that I really love. Then I've got just courgettes basically. Then I got two different kind of aubergines or eggplants, depending on where you live. So jackpot, like a purple one, and then I've got white egg, just a small white one. Then just a mixed bag of radishes, typical, or beetroots, roots, not radishes, beetroots, but colorful ones, typical for Poland. In yellow, like these stripy ones, they are so delicious. I bought them in the supermarket, the ones with the pink and white rings. Oh my, if you get a hand on them, they were delicious. Raw in a salad, absolutely great. The next thing, probably for Alfie, she will love it. This is a mixed bag of carrots, so colorful carrots. And the next one, Parisian market, these tiny baby ones, they're an early variety. And then I come to all of my cabbages and kales. So I've got cauliflower, colorful cauliflower. I absolutely love it. I make puree out of cauliflower. With a little bit of cheese and a lot of butter, very delicious. And especially if you make it with a purple one, you have like a lovely purple puree. Then Brussels sprouts, and I decided to go with purple ones. Never tried them, never seen them in the market. So I'm kind of feeling like this is a nice opportunity when you grow your own vegetable that you can try out all these fancy varieties that you never get your hand on in a supermarket, or at least I don't. Then typical for Northern German, red cabbage. How could I not? I love red cabbage. I'm not the person for sauerkraut. Everybody always thinks when you're German you eat sauerkraut. Now, this is not how the game goes. I don't. Like in the north, no, I would make maybe a salad out of it, just raw, with a lot of vinegar and sugar, and that's kind of it. But sauerkraut is really not my gig. This is a good thing. This is what I love to eat. And the last thing, sweet. I love it. My grandma would probably die over the idea that I grow because she hated it. But yeah, that's it. That was the entire tour of what I'm going to grow. And now I'm just going to show you, I think, 2 or 3 examples how I put it into the stations and call it a day, because the video will be super long otherwise. So this is one of the containers, another size that I'm using. This is just a bigger one. So I have 2 different sizes now, and I think this is nice because here I can put bigger modules in there, or bigger stations basically, because what I'm going to do today with you is some station sowing. And the first thing, I will do some Recliner sowing. I'm really excited about these, because for the back of a garden my color scheme is kind of like purple and red, and I think like a nice accent of like dark foliage will always be beneficial and beautiful. Recliner seeds are fairly big. I hope you can see it like this. So this is how they look like. They have a really lovely distinct pattern going on. Let me just try and find one. Hope you can see it like this. So they've got like these little stripes and blobs going on there. And what I did basically is I was just soaking them for I think 2 hours now in water, just to speed up the entire germination process, because this is definitely good. When you have big seeds like this, it's always a good thing to do. Same with sweet peas or with lupins, whatever seeds you have that are coming in this big size, it's always a good idea. Let them soak just in water for a moment, and then the germination will be so much nicer and better and faster. So what I'm going to do now, this is called station sowing, and the reason for it is because I have these plugs and you have single stations basically, so one seed goes into one station here. The other method would be just like tray sowing basically. If I would have just filled up the entire tray with soil, maybe a smaller one would be better, And then you could just sprinkle your seeds over it. Then afterwards you can divide them and just choose what kind of plant you want to use. But here I really just, what I do is I take my seed, and when you're not sure what is the top or the bottom or whatever of a seed, same how you would do it with tulip planting, for example. If you tulip planting, always pointy side up, but if you're really not sure, just put them on the side, and the same thing applies here to the seeds. So what I do is I just put it here, but these need to go into the ground. So all I do is I just press it in here and cover it with some soil basically, and this is all I'm going to do now. Really press it in nicely. And that's all there is. And I think I've got so many seeds, I probably will be able to fill almost the entire tray. Not the entire tray, but most of it. So what you need to do then, obviously, is put a label on there. I've got, yes, so the plugs that I'm using, they are actually made of natural fiber something. They have a weird smell, I'm not going to lie. I think they smell kind of like, well, something that came out of your body again. But they're good for the environment, let's face it. It's less plastic, and all of this here is plastic, obviously, but this is like a good quality, so I can use it over and over again for many, many years to come, I guess. While these plugs here, if I wanted to, I could put the entire thing into the ground, and it's supposed to break down basically, because we are in a quite nice moist climate here. If you don't want to do it, you can easily just put it out, and then this can go onto the compost heap, which is a lovely thing, I guess. So let me just do the label now quickly. Ricinus, so we don't forget. And yes, these are plastic, but as you can tell, I write with a pencil on it, so I could just like erase it quickly if I needed to and reuse them again. So this is what I'm going to do now, just fill up the entire tray as far as I come, and then I'm going to show you the next pair of seed. I managed to fill half the tray with a Ricinus, and that was great because then I still have the second half for other exciting things. So I went with vegetables here. So I've got 2 rows of cucumbers and 2 rows of celery. And just in case, if you haven't watched my previous video, I just want to talk you through quickly on how to water this in thoroughly and in a good way. Because you saw, like, Ricinus seeds are quite big, and the cucumber seeds are also a good size. So here in theory, you could do an overhead watering, and I only got 1 seed in 1 module actually, but the celery seeds, they are small, they're really small, and there it's not a good idea to just put the water on top of it, because I put like 3-4 seeds into each and every single module, because then as they germinate and grow, I can make a decision and see which ones I want to keep on growing, and if there's some that are just looking too weak, I could just prick them out and just make that decision there. But if I would overwater the tiny seeds now, what happens is all the water collects at one point, it pushes all the seeds there, and then they sink in. And then you have all 4 or 5 seeds at one point, basically, which is not good. This is really not what you want to have. So what you do is you just prepare a jug of water, and then you just lift one of the cells in here, gently. The soil was really wet yesterday already. And then you just pour the water in here, whoa, like this, into your tray. And what happens is that the soil gets wet from the base. And this is good because it allows the seeds to kind of just like sink into the soil exactly where I put them, so that they do not cluster at one area. And this is just the perfect way on how to do it. I think with a tray like this size, I probably need to pour in 3 liters, I guess. I'm going to check it. What you want to have is like that the soil is really nice and moist. Obviously, it shouldn't be dry because then you don't have any germination, and it shouldn't be like overly wet. It should not swim in there. You're not doing bock gardening or anything in here. So just have an eye on it, but I think a good 2-3 liters should do the job here. So let me just finish that and then continue with some more sowing. Since I've been advertising the Rebecca Cherry Brandy and the Amaranth, which is, by the way, called Autumn Palette, I mean, definitely this is the Autumn Palette, to you, I think this is just like a good opportunity to show you how the seeds look like and to do a little sewing with those. So what I'm going to do, where do I have them? Just my scissors. Cut it open. Oh, and by the way, if you are a complete novice gardener, if you've never sown anything, no worries. Most of the seed packs, they always have a good information at the back of the seed pack, which always tells you when is the best time to do indoor sowing, outdoor sowing, when it flowers, sowing depth, plant height, all of those details are always, at the back at each package basically. So just in case if you've never sown anything before. A lot of the time when you order seeds, you have your pack and then they come with another tiny envelope on the inside, which is really nice actually because I'm going to sow all of them. But if you don't want to sow all of them, because sometimes you have 200 or even more, 500 seeds in a pack and you possibly can't sow all of them at once. So you could just cut it open, use the seeds you want, and then just like fold it over again, and then you have like a double security, and you know that you can store them easily again, which is absolutely wonderful. So let me just quickly show you how they look like. They are fairly small. I'm going to cut it open in a moment because there's still more at the base here, and I don't want to lose a single of them. So the Rudbeckia seed, they're small, but a little long actually. So not round. And they are the perfect size for sowing because you really get to see exactly what you are doing. And what I do now is I do station sowing, but I always put 2 seeds in one station. So all I do is I take one and put one in this corner and put the second one in the opposite corner. So always on a diagonal. And then I do it like this system all the way through basically. And this is a moment when it comes in quite handy that I have rather small fingers, because all these delicate jobs are perfect for me. And you tell it is a fairly quick thing to do basically. So this is all I'm going to do now, is work my way through and make sure, maybe because I have so many seeds, you know what, I think I put 3 in there because otherwise it might be, no I don't. Really keep on with the spirit here. So this is what I'm going to do now, and then just put the label in here so I know what I have. And I think with the amount of seeds that I have, maybe I can fill up the entire tray I need to see. So let's look at the amaranth now, because this is a quite good example for really small seeds. Whenever you buy amaranth, normally you get a lot of seeds in one pack. Same applies for poppies normally and delphiniums, digitalis. I always mix up digitalis and delphinium. So try and shake it because you can feel them in here. Small seeds, and yes, a lot of them. So normally sowing amaranth, this would be a good one to just sow in a tray and to not do station sowing. But since I know I'm really not good with the replanting thing, it's better for me personally to put them straight into into modules. So this is how they look like, and honestly this is quite big already for amaranth. The red variety has way smaller seeds than this. This is actually lovely to sow. You can tell, really nice round pole shaped ones. They look completely different to what the Rudbeckia was looking like. Still, I'm going to put a lot back in because I can tell you I'm never ever going to use all of these. This is virtually impossible for me. All right, this is good. So what I do now is, again, exactly the same as I did it with the Rudbeckia. I take maybe 2-3 seeds and just put them into each module, and this is all I'm going to do. Always diagonal, because when you do it like this, you have like plants here, plants there, so they're not like, you know, they don't sit next to each other. They're not like interfering or trying to battle for sun or space or anything, which is always a good thing. Because last year, what I did, and this is a good advice when you're sowing small seeds, you get a pack like this and you feel like, oh my God, I've got all these seeds and I'm just going to bung them all into an entire tray. Take my advice, don't. Because what happens is, and this is what happened to me last year with the amaranth, is that they will grow quite tall and they are fighting for light and water and everything, and all that happens is they get extremely leggy and stringy, and then I don't want to say the drama begins, but then you don't really have like lovely plants and nice seedlings to start with. So just do yourself a favor and really follow whatever you read on the back of the pack, or just do it like I do now with the modules, because this is always like a nice way on how to start it. Because also if you do it in the modules, not all the plants are always going to look amazing. You always have those ones that just look a little stringy or sad or not so amazing, and then you need to be just brutal, get in here and just remove those plants where you can already tell they won't be great. They won't be off for a good start and they won't make up lovely nice little plants. Okay, so, and this is also here, I just put them in here, and then you can tell they're way too close to each other. So what I do, maybe that you see it, just come in with like your the tip of the label here, or with a chopstick, which is also always a great thing to use, and just make sure that they're not sitting too close to each other. And this is all I'm going to do. These tiny seeds, you don't need to push them in. You can just leave them on the surface, and then when the water comes in, the water soaks the seed down into the soil, and then the germination starts. They need, I think, even light to germinate. This is also something you need to consider and really make sure you read the instructions here. I think I might fill probably half the tray with this variety of amaranth and then the other half with a different variety. But I think I'm going to call it a day, for at least for showing you what I'm doing today, because at one point it's really repetitive and I've got so many more to sow. That is it for today's video, and what happened is I did an outro last night or yesterday and wanted to edit everything, and then the outro didn't have an audio on it, so I'm going to do it a day later now. But what I did is I really took the time and I utilized all of the miniature greenhouses that I have. Everything that I could sow is sown now, and every windowsill of the house is utilized. Like even in the kitchen, we have this kind of like bench area here. I hope you can see it. There are like four more greenhouses standing there, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. I know a lot of the plants that will come quickly and easily, like the cosmos and zinnias, they're always the first ones to appear. And then some other ones like I already read, like bell peppers and chilies, they take their time. So it could take up to 2-3 weeks before you see any signs. So when you sow something, really read the information that's written on the back of the package, or do a little bit of research, because sometimes you might be a little irritated if you're like, oh, why do some things come to life so early and others don't? If you do something wrong, no, it's just like how it goes with sowing something. And I'm just exploring more and more in the sowing process, and this year is really the year where I sow so much. I've never done as much as I did this year, and I'm really excited about it. But I can tell you what I'm excited about as well, because in my mind I already have another project that I want to share with you. So what I'm going to do now today is I will head to the hardware stores and buy some materials, because we had some severe winds and storm actually going on, and not a lot happened, but one thing happened which anyways was on my list, and I know that I need to tackle the area, do something about it. And after there's a little bit of a storm damage, now I need to do it, and actually it's a good thing. And I already planned out everything, so I hope you're excited about the next video to come very soon. I hope the weather will be on my side and there won't be snow, because it would be better if the ground was not frozen. It can't be frozen. I need to have soil that I can dig in to do the project. But up until then, it was lovely to show all of my seeds with you in today's video, and I hope to welcome you very soon again. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.